Power in the Arts. Black History Month celebration. Black History Month is winding down. Just 2 days to go. However, Black History Month, from my vantage point, is 365 days. So when the month-long celebration is over, Black history continues. It's every day, and we should live it every day and focus on it every day and recognize those among us who are doing great things. Don't wait until February to tell someone they're great. They have great skills. They have contributed a lot. It should be a daily interaction, a recognition with a card, a kind tweet, or something. So the whole idea of celebrating a month, yes, and the person who initiated had great initiative, and I applaud the founder of Black History Month. However, as I said, we need to live it. And also, Black History Month or Black history is everybody's history. Let's rationalize. Let's be realistic. It's not just Black history. It's Black history and the power of Black people who have contributed to our history. However, that history does have a diverse perspective as illustrated in my exhibition. Yesterday I rolled out what I plan to do, my business plan for the future. LaFate Gallery, Vision Center. Good afternoon, everyone tuning in. I am Eunice LaFate, owner of LaFate Gallery Vision Center, located at 227 North Market Street in Wilmington, Delaware. And yes, I rolled out my program going forward, and the focus is going to be on the programs that this Vision Center offers. I don't think I've been putting enough emphasis on the programs. So when you come to join me, you will be hearing about the programs and how you can be a part of the various programs, how you can participate. We are going to go virtual with some of them. Some will be one-on-one, and others will be small groups under COVID guidelines. Small groups of usually 6, 2 to a table, plexiglass, and all of that. So I'll be walking you through the programs as they will be rolled out going forward. Today we are celebrating Black history, and I want to put the focus on the arts. The arts are the most powerful aspect of our lives. Our economy depends on the arts. Our society. The arts are actually the pivot of our nation. Not enough emphasis is given to that, so much so when there's a budgetary crisis, the first thing they want to put on the chopping block would be the arts. And I'm saying hands off the arts. When it comes to your budget crisis, find other ways to solve it. Don't touch the arts. Actually, you should be pumping more money in the arts. Now I'm speaking to the powers that be. I'm speaking to the legislators, the politicians, and those who hold the purse string, the budget string. The arts need to be enhanced. More money need to be pumped in the arts. And I've done extensive research which validate that children who are involved in the arts are less likely to be involved in destructive behaviors and are less likely to be behind bars. Here is my painting here. This is the focus of a documentary which I'm going to be sharing with you in the next few minutes. And the painting is titled Arts as Prevention. And it came about from true life experience of my experience of the power of the arts. So without further ado, I am going to be sharing that documentary with you. Little background to the documentary. It was created in 2013 thanks to the Blue Ball Barn Museum, Blue Ball Barn. They are located in the Alapocos area of Wilmington, Delaware. And they honored me with a 20-year retrospective. And as part of the retrospective, I created the documentary, and it was rolled out, celebrated. And let me give you a little overview of the people who were involved in this documentary. Well, first, thanks to the technical producer, Gordon Del Gennaro, film producer. He produced the documentary. So, thank you, Gordon, for this wonderful documentary. In the documentary, you are going to see or recognize some people that are very familiar in the community who were in former esteemed positions in our city. Okay, the first person that will be on the screen will be my friend and mentor of 30 years, Dr. J. Macklin. You're going to be seeing Dr. Judith Tang. She was former director of Springfield College School of Human Service, where I studied Human Services Administration and got my master's degree at Springfield. There's a satellite campus right in the Nemours building right here in the city. They're out of Massachusetts. Cheryl Pifer. She worked with me in the banking industry. A very great friend. And she was responsible for helping me to create my catalog of selected works and writings. In the documentary, you will see Florence Collins. She was the one who actually founded my business, got my license for my business. Dr. Elizabeth Higginbottom, a former professor at the University of Delaware. My son, Jermaine LaFate. Actually, the success stories in my documentary are these two young men from that group of boys that I mentored. That's Jermaine right here, my biologic son, but Andre is also my son. I call him my village son. Son of the village. I helped to raise him. You know that takes a village to raise a child. And they're starring in the documentary, and they had their own big page in Out and About last year too. Other people in the documentary: former Mayor Dennis P. Williams, Candice Resto, my Sunday school teacher partner from Faith City Church. We have Victoria. She was one of my students at Job Corps. And former state senator, legendary Margaret Rose Henry, legendary state senator. Those are the people. So let's roll that documentary now. Let's roll the documentary. Okay? It is titled Arts as Prevention. So let's get that documentary going. Okay. I'm Eunice LaFate,
I've lived in the city of Wilmington for the last 31 years, and truly, I believe Wilmington is a place to be somebody. I created this documentary based on my passion for the arts, and more so, my experience of the transforming power of the arts as used with my son growing up on the east side of Wilmington and his friends back in the 90s. I'm hoping that you can gain inspiration from this documentary, and I hope that you will see it fit to ensure young kids are involved in the arts.
Well, I think as an artist, she is top-notch in almost anything she undertakes.
Always a story behind that art. And that's what has made her last for 20 years.
Eunice is a very powerful woman. And I say powerful because her artwork brings healing to the community where she is.
With the problems that we have in our city with dropout rates and some of the crime we have, I would have loved to have 100 Eunices, the kids that she did save and put on the right track.
She was blessed to have a career in industry, and she left that to go and serve her community.
I was born and raised in St. Anne, Jamaica, a wonderful family of 10 children, 8 girls and 2 boys. And my parents were wonderful. My father was a preacher, my mom a homemaker. They shaped us in great values, ancestral values. And one of the things I remember is the fact that we had to learn those little memory gems. Labor for learning before you grow old, for learning is better than silver, and gold will vanish away. But a good education will never decay. And that was important because my parents were poor, relatively poor. But they insisted that if we did get a good education, we could make all the money we wanted to, and I've proven that right. I grew up and became a teacher and went to Teachers College, and while I was in Teachers College, it was required that for every lesson you must have a visual aid. And that is where my creative talent came to be, because I made beautiful charts, and instead of cutting and pasting pictures, I do my own pictures. I was determined that I was going to advance my talents, and on my own, I took on starting to paint, to use oil. I experimented with oil, watercolor. The schools where I worked, or in particular one elementary school, for 3 consecutive years was the island champion. Those students received the cup for their artwork. It inspired me.
Just being the fact that she is a seasoned or veteran teacher, I was a little overwhelmed, but I was very inspired. So for me, this one is funny. So they color, and I'm a coloring guru. So I'll be like, "You're going outside blind, and we painted this color." She's like, "No. let them explore. This is what they see through their eyes. So for me, it's like really seeing life differently and knowing like it has so many, beautiful, vast colors that, you can express yourself. And from 3 to 5, for me to see that this is a way she could actually gauge a child and see if they have learning disabilities, to see the type of child they are, their temperament, just by watching them color.
As a teacher, first, I would say before any other profession, she's a mother and a teacher. First, and she's very, what do you think about this? Or what do you see when I show you this painting? Always wanted to know how we felt, about her work and if we would be interested in doing something like that too. So there was always the times where before we could play, there had to be a lesson involved. Something had to be taught before we played, which is probably why I became a teacher.
The first time I met Eunice, it was in a very stagnant business setting. So I really had no idea at that time that, she was just a wonderful folk artist. Being two women in a primarily female environment where all of the management was primarily male, there were a lot of diversity conversations that came up. The truth of the matter is a lot of Eunice's work was completely misunderstood. Again, people here look at things and they look for illustration. Eunice's work is very soulful. She has a story to tell, whether it's an oral story that's being passed down by generations through her background from Jamaica, to the story of the Black plight in the city of Wilmington, trying to elevate women. Those kinds of items were not well received in the early 80s.
It is the shock of the racism. You have credentials, and people don't believe it. That there's always this sort of questioning of your ability. You get assignments and people are surprised that you do them well. And it can really impact people's health. And I really found her art as a way of coping and putting forward positive messages.
When she was working in the banking industry, there were late hours that she had to work. There was a lot of stress and pressures behind hitting certain numbers. The arts, in a sense, was missing from that business.
Most people in this particular area are used to the Wyeths and others that do the more refined art. So the biggest challenge was to overcome the image that folk art is more childish or more not as refined, because it may not have faces, it may be very crude, it may be very one arm a little bit bigger than the other.
Because a lot of people were not acquainted with folk art, I would get some types of feedback. And why do you round off the hands? Is that how all the people in Jamaica, is that how their hands look? They don't have fingers? It was pretty intriguing. But again, it was innocence, ignorance of folk art. I took on from there to start educating people what is folk art. That is not about the perspective or the accuracy, but it's about the life stories.
We started talking on where she wanted to go, from doing just artwork and doing it for a hobby's sake as far as a business is concerned. One of the suggestions was to start with the art loop, which had been, as you all know, over 20 years. So we started with that, and then we started with the covers of Out and About. I said, Eunice, find out what they want to do. It would be great exposure for you. The main thing over top of that was when she was invited to do Ronald McDonald shows. When she got into a George show, it changed a lot. We still got remarks, but we got quite a few people who wanted to collect it because because they started to understand what folk art was about.
We were just brainstorming ideas for fundraising for the YMCA, and Eunice said, I'm painting right now. And I said, gee, that sounds pretty good. But can you donate some clothing? And we'll have a rummage sale. She said, in my country, we don't beg. So how about we consider an art auction? So from that time on, we became great friends. And I think at that art auction, we raised over $2,000 from her paintings.
If you can draw lines, you can draw shapes, and you can apply colors, that's art. So I encourage people to bring out the artist in you. I think everyone is an artist.
I remember I went on a vacation with my mom, and we went to the Grand Canyon, and there was this beautiful chapel built into this mountain. It wasn't the Grand Canyon, but it was a mountain. And I brought the pictures back, and I said, Eunice, look at these pictures that I took. And she said, you should frame those. And so she helped me get them framed, and then she said to me, on your resume, you can put photographer now.
I wasn't really even interested in doing nursing, but how can you, she said, you can incorporate your music into helping people, so that's what I focused it in doing that, started helping people with my music. She just kept encouraging me that, even though you're in the nursing field or whatever, you can incorporate your music here too. There's a lot of people who like to hear you sing or like to hear you play your instruments.
One of the things I've learned from Eunice is the fact that we probably all have art in us. I don't consider myself an artistic person, but she makes art seem easy.
If you look at a lot of the law enforcement studies today, it tells you that the average neighborhood where kids are in performing arts, the arrest rate is almost 87% less. And it does work. Just like community gardens, it's 67% less.
I grew up in a very tough neighborhood on the east side, Wilmington, whereas, you could be a statistic at any moment. My mother focused on me not being a statistic, but being a stat maker. And that's one of the things that, I say to this day is kind of one of my catchphrases, is that I'm not a statistic. I'm a stat maker. The arts allow you to be able to do that.
She's taught me that, even with as a parent, teach your kids values, teach your kids morals, get them involved in some form of art. I have one son who dances, I have one son who wrestles. And so that's their art. And so I push them to use that as a catapult for life. She's taught me that, behind every thing you can see, there's a deeper meaning.
I think the one thing that I love about Eunice the most is that she is committed to the community.
What Eunice has done for me was definitely, she's pushed me harder, just kept motivating me, said that you can persevere through anything.
She has been persistent and consistent throughout all that she's gone through in just perpetuating her art.
she's always who she is. It's not anything behind the veil that you would be surprised about. So for me, she's helped me to know, stand for who you are and who you believe in. Don't drift from that, no matter the company that you're in. And just know that God always has you.
It's okay to be you. Wherever you are in life, it's okay. And those are the lessons that she's tried to illustrate in her paintings.
So I think that she has made such an impact on so many people. And I have personally enjoyed working with her over the years.
Labor for learning before you grow old. For learning is better than silver and gold
So we'll take that away with a good education.
Facebook Friends. You've seen it. That's a documentary. The quality of the picture was not as good as I would have loved it to be. However, the message is there. The arts are powerful. The arts can help young people to find their talents and to be successful in life. If we focus on the arts, we are investing in the future. So I encourage those out there who are responsible for budgeting to fund the arts. It is what is going to heal us actually in this era of the pandemic. That brings me to the programs that I offer. So Arts as Prevention is one of the programs that LaFate Gallery Vision Center offers. That is designed for youth and children. Children starting at age 6 and going up to youth at age 16. We want to get them when they're young and to engage them. Let them find their talent, their latent talents, their innate talents. Develop those talents. Let them know too that they can become the great inventors, the black inventors of the next century. We talk about black history, but it's going to require more than that. It's going to require us to focus the next generation on the skills that are required to make a great work, to invent. So, yes, we teach them about those great inventors. Well, teach them that they too can become great inventors. Let them put away the iPhones and the iPads for a while. Take those fingers, those hands, and the brain, and come up with ideas and make something. In this era of the pandemic, they could make something that could become a heirloom, something they could share with their children to say, during the pandemic, I made this. So using the hands to make things. Writing. We have lost the art of writing. These texts with the GM, sometimes I don't even know what they're saying. I can figure out some of the acronyms, but most times I can't. We need to get back to basics. Our children need to learn to write, to construct sentences. Who are going to be the next orators, public speakers? If we don't train our children and instill in them the value of learning to do things, sometimes we have to do it sometimes the old way. There's nothing wrong with how we were raised and the values we had. You heard my son in the narrative there when Gordon interviewed us for this documentary. My son and I were not at the same, actually, our interviews were at different locations. I closed my interview with that memory gem. Labor for learning before you grow old. For learning is better than silver and gold. Silver and gold will vanish away, but a good education will never decay. And you heard both of us, the voices in sync, saying it, because he knew it too. He was trained. Yeah, Black History, it's Black History Month. We need to teach our children. Let them, yeah, I remember going to school and we had to recite Henry Wadsworth and Longfellow and all those poets. We had to know those poems. But one of the greatest little memory gem that I learned in school was this one. Good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best, because only the best is good enough. When I worked in corporate America and I was a manager, I used to tell my employees that good is not good enough. When we are ready, when we have a budget crunch and we are ready to lay off, good people get laid off. You bet. Good people get laid off. Now, who are we going to retain? The very best. So if you're only trying to be good, you're going to lose that job. Good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best. Only the best is good enough. And we need to teach our children that good is not good enough. Let them aim for high standards, to reach for the stars. That is important. If you're just joining me, I'm going to do a little recap. You know, as a teacher, I don't want you to lose out on all of it. LaFate Gallery Vision Center is now moving in a direction where we are highlighting the programs, because there are numerous programs that this Vision Center offers. And one of them is Arts as Prevention, designed for children ages 6 and all the way up to youth ages 16. And we get them to create works of art, but they not only do that, they learn about heritage, culture, diversity, peace. They learn that. And that's what we're doing. So I played my documentary just now. If you missed out on it, here's where you can find it. Actually, there's a link on my page. So if you're my Facebook friend, go to my page and you can click on that documentary. You can also find it on YouTube when you go to Spotlight on Wilmington, Arts as Prevention. And then you type Eunice LaFate and you'll get that. You will get that documentary. And surprise, surprise, thanks to Antoinette Blake, my coach, my videos are now being transported to YouTube so they can be saved forever. So if you want to catch up on videos that I've done previously, go to YouTube. They're there. All the rich videos that I have been doing. We have to preserve our legacy. When you create a video on Facebook Live, that's not your property. If anything happens to Facebook, you have lost it. But when you take your property, because these videos are my property, and again, thanks to Antoinette Blake. She has worked with me over the last 2 months, and we have done great things in terms of preserving legacy, preserving history. All the great lessons that I've been coming on with, they're not going to be lost. They are stored there. They're there. Yes, so I offer a documentary. Let me tell you what else LaFate Gallery offers. Some of the other programs. You need to know the realm of programs that I offer. It is Black History Month. We are on the winding down. if you're just joining me, Black History Month does not finish on the 28th. It is 365 days. That is why throughout the year, you could request me to do a presentation. I am a public speaker. In 2001, I auditioned with the Delaware Humanities Forum Speakers Bureau, and I was selected to be one of their speakers. So let me tell you, if your organization is looking for a speaker or just something different, and we're going to do it various ways. It can be virtual or in person. Pick your choice. So let me show you my flyer with my speaking engagements. There are a number of them. The one I just did now was Arts as Prevention. Then there are other programs or other speaking engagement, like diversity. The art of business is what I've been focusing on. How to transform a hobby into a business. I told you my story, how I was painting in corporate America to relieve stress. And it bloomed and blossomed until today I own a gallery. It was, it was not like designed that way. But it happened. Okay, art of coping. In these turbulent times, we need mechanisms to cope. So that's one of my topics that I present. Art of coping. I am pretty big, by now everybody should know, I'm big on diversity. When it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion, I am a proponent and advocate of that. So if your organization is looking a speaker in that category, then you can engage me. You call me at 302-656-6786. Okay, other topics are grief. We are going through now, every day you get some news about someone who has been lost in the pandemic. And it is very difficult to cope with grief, regardless of the circumstances under which that person passed. Grief is grief. Okay? So, not everyone has the mechanism to cope with grief. I found mine when I cared for my late and dear husband of 31 years, who passed from cancer on 5/4. It's coming up to the 6th year. 5/4/2015. And I had to cope as a caregiver. I was at his bedside for 4 months, every day visiting, never missed a day in 4 months visiting. And then when he came home to the dignity of his home, in the last 6 weeks of his life, I was always at the bed. And that's why I create, all the way in the back of the room, is an entire mini gallery with works of art titled The Heart, not A-R-T, The Heart of Caregiving. So I have designed a workshop for caregivers. I will be looking for funding so people don't have to pay for it. You can't just give things freely. And talking about that, this morning, I recognized a foundation that has been so very giving back to the community. That is the Kenny Family Foundation, who last year, along with Buccini Pauline Group, sponsored 20 children to come to this gallery to paint free of cost to their parents. Well, I'll be going to other funders to see if I can get some funding so when I do the caregiving and grieving classes, people don't have to pay for that. They shouldn't have to pay. I'll find a way out. Not to pat myself on the shoulder. When I ask favors in this community, I get positive responses because I give back. They know where their money is going because I'm always giving back. So yes, one of my shops is titled The Heart, as in your heart, the heart of caregiving. That one is designed for people who are caregivers and are coping with the challenges of caregiving, and I'm going to help them to find outlets to deal with those challenges. Then the other one is the other side. You care for someone and you lose them. And you have to live with that grief. But you cannot allow that grief to consume you. Now, that class is titled Rebounding from Grief to Growth. And that is the subject of this gallery. It's a theme. Rebounding. This gallery was born out of grief. When I lost my husband and my siblings wanted me to pack up, move to New York, I prayed about it and the Lord gave me a vision to open this gallery. So it's a mission. That's why it's a vision center. It's more than a place where I hang art. Okay, and there's a lot of art in this gallery. The exhibition currently on display is coming down this week because next week we will be starting Women's History Month. And that's a whole new realm of work I'm going to be showcasing. I'm going to get to the commercial from this vantage point. Art should not be in storage. I told you I'm going to have to take down all these works of art. All of the pieces that are now on the wall will be moved back into storage, bubble wrapped, and put away. Why should that be? Well, the answer is people need to develop some value for art. Value. It's about value. It's not a money thing. I know that for sure. This is old money town. It is the Diamond State, the state of Delaware. We're wealthy. We're not poor. There's money here. However, with that money has to go values. So that's why I have a class coming up very soon. And here's the title of that class. Art is wealth. It's more than beauty. Why collect art? That's a whole workshop in itself of how you can grow your wealth by collecting art. It's more than money in the bank. Okay. So then, I will be coming periodically with the different programs that I offer. And by the way, Paint Night is back. Paint Day, Paint Night is back for adults. I've been doing paint classes for children, but Paint Night and Paint Day are back. We are living in the pandemic era. However, we cannot be consumed, and we have to be realistic and take all the necessary precautions, while at the same time use good judgment. That's what I used last year when I brought 40 children in small groups of 5 through that door. And they were clad in their face mask. I provided them with gloves, no sharing of materials, no touching sharing. We sat them 2 to a table, 6-foot table, 1 at the top, the bottom. And now I have plexiglass dividers. How safe can you get? 6. The classes are limited to 6. And the paint nights are limited to 6. So if you're interested in organize, an event is coming up, you want to surprise someone, organize a paint night for 6 people. If it's more than 6, we split it. The 6 is important because I have 3 6-feet table and we sit 2 to a table. We don't do crowds in this era. So, come out of the shell. Okay, out of that bubble, the pandemic bubble. Let's come out of it and live. Yeah, we have to continue. Life goes on. We have to be cautious and be safe. However, We have to be able to use good judgment, and life continues. I wouldn't like to be a teacher in the setting now, because I am a teacher, or was a teacher for 3 decades in the classroom, and it's so important, that one-on-one, that face-to-face contact. Now, I would have to deal with it if I were still in the classroom. The children who came through my door last year, they gave me some stories, and it made me very sad, of the challenges of virtual learning and homeschooling. But they don't have a choice. That's why I create the outlet for them to get out of it a little and come into a gallery, see art. Take a globe. We take a globe, a map of the world. Travel the world. Go to Jamaica. I take them there. I take them to Africa, because we talk about heritage. Europe, all over, and they learn. They learn. Yeah. We have to get creative. Okay, so there are a lot of goods in this gallery that are getting ready, as I say, to go back in storage. Let me start with my miniatures. These little pieces right here, excluding that in price, because that's a high value piece. This is. And I am a folk artist. I'm not a portrait artist. However, I did capture. I think I did a great job capturing our first black vice president. And that's a miniature right there. I have the original too. Now, excluding that piece, these miniatures are $20. 5x7, that's all it costs. You're talking a frame piece of work, frame and ready to hang. Give your girls that. Women's History Month is coming up. Do you have any women art in your possession, on your walls? When you celebrate Women's History Month, what is on your wall? Go back and take a look. Take a look at your walls. I have a range of paintings here, and they're affordable, $20. Women balancing the world. This is elegance. It's quite a lot. And it's not just about women. Here's another great image. I have a range of other themes of work in this gallery, all made affordable. Everything on this little table here. Children need to learn about diversity. They need to learn about love. Maya Angelou's Still I Rise. Tubman and Garrett. Diversity, 2 diverse people fighting to end slavery. How about that? These are available here at the gallery, 227 North Market Street in Wilmington, Delaware. The miniatures are not online. However, if you want to purchase, we're doing virtual sales now. Virtual. FaceTime sales. We're FaceTiming and purchasing. So you could let me know you're interested in collecting some of those. Then we set up a FaceTime. I walk you through. You select the pieces you want. I mail them free of cost. All shipping for art from LaFate Gallery is free. Free shipping anywhere in the United States. And the gallery online, if you can't come physically to the gallery, then go online. That website is www.lafategallery.com. To make an appointment to come to the gallery, yes, you need an appointment because it's COVID time. We have to set up appointments. You call me at 302-656-6786. Same number if you want to organize a speaking engagement or paint night, paint day. Do that. So thank you very much for watching. And have a great afternoon and be safe out there. Wow, today was a beautiful day. I bask in the sunshine, walking 8 blocks to get my vitamin D. Yes, you have to stock up on your vitamin D. Vitamin D is necessary for your immune system. So whenever you can, get out there and take a walk. Take a walk. The vitamin D pills can't do it. You need, talking about vitamin D, let me end on this piece. Your life is on your plate is the title of this piece. So the sunshine, the natural sunshine, and the food to build your immune system, those dark fruits and veggie, your life is on your plate. I encourage you to eat well. Be safe. Thank you, and get some sunshine in your life. Thanks.